All right, guys, another little quick 3-minute sharpening tip. Now, I'm not actually going to do any sharpening. I got the stone just as an example. So, sharpening to a bias is something that I do for some customers, typically in kitchen knives. Now, sharpening to a bias is simply having an angle that is a little bit different from one side to the other. Most of the times when I'm sharpening, I am simply doing a full like V grind that is, I do a convex, but I'm bringing it up dead center down the middle of the knife. I do have customers that ask, especially my friend Tino, who happens to be left-handed. He asks if he could have a left-hand bias. And what that means is that the angle is going to be slightly different from one side to the other. And I can show you the most drastic example of that. I mean, this is just a visual aid, is this Japanese Honesuke poultry knife, because it has a chisel grind. It has a definite 100% has a bias. But this is an extreme example. So simply all you're doing is, as you have the stone in hand, now I will tell you, the easiest way to do a specific bias is on a fixtured system. So knowing that Tino is left-handed, knowing that this knife is for right-handed, you can see that the chisel is over on from the right-hand side over. So that would mean that on this side of the knife, I would have a steeper angle than on this side of the knife for a right-hand bias. To do Matt's knives, my buddy Tino's knives, I'm simply on this side of the knife, I'm going to change that angle ever so slightly so that the apex of that favors the side for him, which is the left. So left side, so it would be show scale of this knife, is going to have a different angle that's going to bring that apex over a little bit so that when he cuts left-handed, it's going to have more of a bite going that direction. Now, I could do it dead center, but he absolutely loves when I put a bias on his knives. Typically, you don't do it on most pocket knives. I will say that on most pocket knives, you don't typically do that. But for most people that are sharpening very good kitchen cutlery or professional chefs, a little bit of a bias is going to definitely help them out in the long run. So being able to sharpen on a bias, knowing left from right, is just, it's a simple matter of changing the angle a little bit from side to side. And like I said, if you have a fixtured system, you can absolutely do this. Just change the degree on the side you want to bias it to by like maybe a half a degree. That's all. It takes very little to establish that apex to be a little bit more. Now, there are some downsides to that. I'll mention really quick. They do have a tendency, if somebody else uses your knife, if you give that knife to somebody that is right-handed, it's not going to cut as well if you're left-handed, and vice versa. And the edge can wear out quicker if you're allowing someone that is not the same handedness as you to use that knife, because the way they're going to cut is going to cause additional wear on that blade. But that is just a quick little tip. Just changing that angle ever so slightly can change the way that knife performs for you. So we'll do some actual sharpening videos as soon as my shoulder's feeling better. I've got stuff lined up that I want to do, so stay tuned for that.